Hello and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. Today, by request, I'm going to show you how I make my little candles. You can see one there on its little skull stand. But today, we're going to try and make something a bit more like this. A group of candles on a tray. Now, to make the candles, you're going to need a tube of some description. Now, I'm using cotton swabs, cotton buds. These are the kind with a plastic stick, but you can use any kind. You could use wooden, paper, anything tubular. I'm also going to be using some wire and of course some paint. Now this is my chosen colour for candles. You can go with any colour that you like. I just happen to like this sort of creamy colour. It reminds me of those old candles that you get. And then finally, my secret weapon is my glue. Now this is Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, which is a papercraft glue originally, but I use it for lots of things because it is a really good glue, and it's also quite dimensional, which is what makes it really good for making my candles, as you shall see. Now, the first thing you need to do is to cut your cotton swab to size. This is quite simple. I can cut it with scissors. Depending on what you use, if you use a thin wooden dowel or a cocktail stick, something like that, you might need to use a craft knife. But this is really thin plastic, so scissors are sufficient. Now, because this is hollow, I then put a bit of glue into either end and let it set for a while before inserting the wire to make the wick, like so. Now, as you can see, I've got a wick here that is considerably longer than the candle. That is on purpose because it gives me something to hold the candle by while I'm working on it. Nothing more complicated than that. I will trim it down at the end, but for now this makes my life a lot easier. I've cut 7 lengths, 7 pieces of descending length because of how I'm going to stick them onto the plate. What you need now is your glue. Now, I've put the glue out onto a piece of cardboard. This makes it both easier to access and it makes it easier to work with, because what I want the glue to have started to set. This glue is thicker than most PVA. You can do it with PVA, you just want the thicker kinds. So what I do is I get a cocktail stick and I get some glue on the end, and if I get this into right, I simply drag a stream of glue along the candle. Now, hopefully you can see that. It is rather small. And I repeat this around the exterior of the candle, various thicknesses and various lengths. At the moment it's white. This will dry clear, and at that point I'm going to show you what comes next. So now that the glue on the candles is dry, which I can tell by the fact it's gone clear, You see I've got my little bunch of them here, all stuck into an eraser. I'm going to start putting the candle display together. Now I've made a little plate for them to stand on. This is made out of cereal box card, 3 layers of it, punched out with a paper punch and then glued together. I've then given it a coat of black paint and a dry brushed coat of silver. Now obviously I don't want to glue it straight onto here because I've still got work to do, so I'm going to use a little bit of tacky wax, sometimes called archivist wax, to attach some baking parchment. Now I'm going to start with my biggest candle and I want to glue it where on the sheet I'm going to want it. Now I really want this one to sort of go not quite in the centre, but a little bit off centre. So I get my glue and my trusty cocktail stick and put a little bit of glue onto the bottom and just sort of pop that where I want it to go. I'll take the next one in terms of size, which is not glued very well, but hey ho, which is here. And with him I'm going to stick some glue on the bottom and some glue on the side. I am also going to get my little pair of jewellery pliers. These are really good, and what I'm going to do is stick that to that and to the base. Now I'm going to carry on with the rest of these. I've got 7 in total until I've got a little clump. Now that the candles are all stuck together, you can see that I've trimmed all but one of the wicks. This is to give me something to still hold on to and also to make it easier, because once they're closer together it's very difficult to get the cutters in and get them down to the length you want. What I'm now going to do is add more glue so it looks like these have been melting around each other. Again, I'm going to use glue that's been sitting around for a while and cocktail stick, get a blob, and I'm going to start from the bottom and I'm going to start adding glue sort of in little blobby bits, and then also taking it back up the candles so that it looks like it's actually come down it. This is what makes it sort of look like one piece rather than just bits stuck together. Now I've let the glue dry overnight, and as you can see I've removed it all from the baking paper. Next step is to paint it and then to stick it into place on the little plate, for which I just use a bit more of the glue that I've been doing, but I'll show you that in a minute. So they've been painted, the paint is now dry and they've been stuck down onto their little plate, and as you can see I've now got a nice little display of candles to put into any miniature setting. As I said at the beginning, you can just do a single one and attach that to a candle holder of your choice, but I quite like this little grouping. The only thing I will say is when painting, I use black wire because it's what I got, but I do sometimes have to touch up the wire with a black paint pen. Find one of them, it's really great for just covering up the bits of paint that end up getting onto the wicks. So there is my easy candle tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and will consider liking or subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.